Good morning, Form 5. Happy Diwali. I had to do some work for Form 6 this morning. That's a hard subject, but there you go. Now, paper 2 is done. Feedback is quite positive that you got an okay. That's because you probably worked hard for that one because you were worried about it. But it's paper 1 that comes up next week that is the hardest. But you are comfortable with paper 1 because it's mainly about content. You're not worried about skills or other stuff like map reading. Don't be overconfident because it will bite you. Don't be overconfident because if paper 2 was easy, paper 1's going to catch you. Okay, you need to do the work. Now, I'm going to walk you through some easy questions related to migration because over the next few days, I'm going to walk through from population, environment, economic development, and I'm going to be doing videos on all the main themes. I am not giving you the full revision process. I'm just showing you some question examples so you can sort of see what they're going to be throwing at you. It's not your revision, it's just to complement the process. Okay. Now I'm going to share screen and we're going to go to these are easy questions, by the way. The second video will be on medium questions, migration, and then hard 7-point questions, migration. Then we'll look at population distribution. I think that might have come up in your paper 2, so it might not come up again. We'll look at various themes, okay? So, as usual, looking at this, it's very familiar. This is a map that could come up on any area because it's a choropleth map that gives us information. This time it's about migration. We know we often describe these things and we know the sort of terminology we need to use to describe, okay? So figure 1.2 is a map showing information about global net migration. The question is at the bottom. Describe the distribution of areas with negative net migration. We have to consult the key. We have two colours there, blue and pink. Positive net migration, where there's more people immigrating, more people coming in, is blue. Areas where people are emigrating and they're leaving is pink. That's negative net migration. That's what we're looking at in this question. Okay. Describe the distribution of areas with negative net migration. Well, firstly, we can see that that distribution is across most of the continents. Okay. We can see Africa, Asia, Central America, South America, Asia. Okay, so we've got a distribution now. The equator comes through about here. So we can say above the equator in the northern hemisphere, there's lots of countries in Africa. Okay, India, and not in Africa, but there's also India and China in Asia, and there's Indonesia, okay, around the Philippines, around those areas. Also north of the equator, we've got places in South of Central America like Mexico. In South America, we can see places like Venezuela. Okay, so we've mentioned north of the equator. I think I mentioned 3 continents there. Okay, south of the equator, which is about here, we still have some countries in Africa, and some places. I guess that's like Paraguay, places like that. Okay, so talk about equator, north, south hemispheres, name continents, give examples. I can see Spain, I can see Ireland, I can even see Iceland up here. Might not know all of these, but mention them where you can. You should definitely be able to mention China and India. You should definitely be able to mention North Africa, Southern Africa. So Mexico, you should be able to identify. And in South America, the continent, this is Venezuela. It's in the news a lot. Okay, so let's look at the answer. The distribution of negative net migration follows a clustered, uneven pattern. Well, I suppose it is. I don't think it's uneven. I think it's quite spread across the globe, across the middle, really. It's concentrated mainly in the northern hemisphere on the continents of Africa. North Africa isn't a continent. Africa's a continent. It's in the north of Africa. Central America, that's your kind of, Mexico. We see that in the news. The Caribbean islands and parts of Eastern Europe and the majority of Asia. Okay. In the southern hemisphere, negative net migration is concentrated in Southeast Asia, Southeast Africa, and northern South America. So this is what they call in northern southern South America. This is southern Africa. This is Southeast Asia. Okay, below the equator. So that's fairly doable. Okay, Look at this one. Study figure 1.1 and 1.2, which show information about migration across the Mediterranean Sea from Libya to Italy between 2015 and 2016. We've got the key. The black arrows show migrant routes. The little circles show cities. And we can clearly see that people are coming out. The Mediterranean is here. This continent is Africa. Okay, we can see people are coming out across to Italy, and then from there, they seem to be heading to Rome, especially Milan. And from Milan, they're radiating out into France and Germany. Okay, let's have a look. We've got the second figure. The second figure is number of migrants from Libya to Italy, same day, but we're getting this information now in numbers. That just shows us the flows. This shows us the numbers. We have a bar chart. We can already see that we have two data sets missing. That will come into play. So the first question is pertaining to the one with the arrows. Using figure 1.1 only, identify two ports in Libya which migrants leave from Italy. Okay, so here we go. Let me just check that again. To identify two ports in Libya which migrants move to Italy. Right. Well, Tripoli is one of them. This is and the other one is Benghazi. Okay. So you've got Tripoli and Benghazi. All right. There's another one here, Zawiya. That would also probably be correct as well. But you see the three ports labelled, but Tripoli and Benghazi or Zawiya, whatever it's called. Okay, that would be the answer. Now, let's check that. Two ports, Tripoli and Benghazi. I think the other one's correct as well. Complete figure 1.2 by plotting the following information about the countries of birth of migrants travelling from Libya to Italy between those dates. Okay, so that's back to this one. We see Eritrea is missing, and so Somalia. Tip: use the same shading. You can see it's a crosshatch diagonal. You must use the same. You can't do checks or squares. You follow what is there. Okay. Now let's look at the data. Sorry, let's look at the data. From Eritrea, it's 54,000. You will be drawing this on the piece of paper. So for Eritrea, we're up to 50, 1, 2, 3, 4. A line across with the ruler, down, crosshatch. Crosshatch going up to the right. For Somalia, it's 20,000. So again, that's a nice easy one. We go across the main line, crosshatch in the same. Keep it the same as what's there. That's really easy. It looks like this. Well, I don't even think. I think they've messed up Eritrea a little bit. That's acceptable, but your cross-hatching should be a little bit more like the rest of them. Okay, this is really easy. All right, so let's move on. Much of the migration across the Mediterranean Sea from Libya to Italy is forced involuntary migration. I'm not sure that's true. Give three reasons why forced involuntary migration may occur in a country. So, from your knowledge, there's probably 10 things you could say, but you've only got to find three. Why would people be forced to migrate from Libya to other countries? Well, Libya has been subject to conflict. There's a lot of problems in Libya at the moment. Okay, so think of three reasons. I'm sure you can do that. Even if you don't know, you should know if you think geographically. One reason could be due to civil war. Yes, there is a civil war in Libya. It's been chaos. Great Britain and America bombed it to kill Colonel Gaddafi about 10 years ago. And then the place went to hell, as they usually do. Okay. So because there's civil war, people forced to flee because it's terrible there. Okay. They want a better life. Another reason can be due to drought. I don't know. There's a drought in Libya. It's dry in North Africa, but climate change is affecting. No water, no crops. Yeah, it could be drought, not enough water for people. They could be forced to leave due to persecution. Libya is a Islamic country, but there are sections within Islam that fight each other. Historically, there were Christians and other religions there, Zoroastrians. They could, under this new regime, just be forced to move, flee for their lives. But that's just 3 points. You could say civil unrest, persecution, cultural persecution, political pressure. Okay, there could be lots of reasons. And these are generic. Okay, you could be asked about any country in the world, and the same 10 generic reasons would apply. Better if false because of war, because don't forget this is not voluntary migration, so it's not better opportunities, better education. That's voluntary. It's forced. So it's persecution, war, starvation. It's the things that force you to move. Okay. Alrighty. Study figure 1.2, which is an extract about a guest worker from the Philippines who is living in Dubai in the UAE. Okay, this is about Teresa Cruz from the Philippines. She's one of many millions of adults who have travelled thousands of miles to work in Dubai. On she has to see her children who live in Iran. She's left her children. That's not nice, is it? But it happens a lot for overseas workers. She has to feed them. Blah blah blah. Teresa lives in the bedroom with her husband Louise, who, like Teresa, left the Philippines years ago. They decided the only way the way to do the things their parent wants to do, pay for school books. Okay, make sure they have enough to eat. That's why they've left. Okay, right. Question: identify three difficulties Teresa faces as a guest worker in Dubai. Well, she hasn't got children. Um, it's in there somewhere anyway. It's about money, cultural differences, lots of things. Okay, let's look at the answer. She may find it difficult to be away from her family and children for such a long time. Well, that's obvious, isn't it? If you have to leave, you would be the same. Teresa only gets one day off each week and has to fit everything into that day. So on a one day, she has to do all the stuff in her personal life and for her family back home, like transfer money. She probably, yeah, because she's saving money and she's there to work to earn money, she lives in poor, rubbish accommodation with three other people. Doesn't have much of a life. She's giving up her life for her children. It's all in the narrative, guys. It's all written there. You haven't even got to make it up, okay? Okay, so that's it. This is paper one, migration questions, but at the easy level. You should all be hitting 100% on this. Okay, end of this video. Next one will be paper one, migration, medium level questions.